Urgent news for Social Security recipients. A game-changing new rule takes effect on April 22nd that will put more money in the pockets of millions of Americans this week. Are you one of the beneficiaries about to see a bigger payment? What exactly changed in the Social Security Administration's policies to trigger this sudden increase? Why is this happening now after years of minimal adjustments? How much more could you expect to receive in your next check? Did Congress finally address the cost of living crisis facing seniors and disabled Americans? And most importantly, do you need to take any action to ensure you get every dollar you're entitled to under this new rule? Stay tuned, because this could be the financial boost you've been waiting for. Before I dive into all the details about this major Social Security change, take 2 seconds to hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. I cover breaking news about retirement benefits, Social Security updates, and financial changes that affect your wallet the moment they happen. On April 22nd, the Social Security Administration will implement a substantial change to the benefit calculation formula that affects millions of current recipients. This change, which has been in development for months, modifies how the SSA calculates the primary insurance amount, PIA, for certain categories of beneficiaries, resulting in immediate payment increases for those who qualify. The adjustment came after extensive pressure from advocacy groups representing seniors and disabled Americans who have struggled with rising costs across healthcare, housing, and everyday essentials. What makes this rule change particularly significant is that it doesn't require congressional approval. The Social Security Administration is implementing this adjustment through their regulatory authority, which allows them to make certain modifications to payment calculations without legislative action. This approach has enabled them to move much more quickly than the typical congressional process would allow, bringing financial relief to beneficiaries within days rather than the months or even years that legislative changes often require. At its core, the new rule addresses a long-standing issue with how cost of living adjustments have been calculated and applied, particularly for beneficiaries who fall into specific categories. The modification adjusts the formula to more accurately reflect the actual expenses that seniors and disabled Americans face, especially regarding healthcare costs, which have risen significantly faster than the general inflation rate used in previous calculations. The SSA Commissioner released a statement explaining that this rule change represents our commitment to ensuring Social Security benefits maintain their purchasing power in the face of rising costs for the essentials that our beneficiaries depend on. By implementing this adjustment, we're taking a significant step toward financial security for millions of Americans. This marks one of the most substantial administrative changes to benefit calculations in the past decade. The most pressing question for most viewers is undoubtedly, am I going to see more money? And if so, how much? According to the Social Security Administration's announcement, 3 primary groups will see immediate increases to their benefits starting this week. The first and largest group benefiting from this change is traditional retirement benefit recipients who began collecting before 2023. If you fall into this category, you could see an increase of 3.2% to 4.7% in your monthly payment, depending on when you initially began collecting benefits and your current benefit amount. For the average Social Security retirement recipient receiving approximately $1,860 per month, this would translate to an additional $59 to $87 monthly, or up to $1,044 extra per year. The second major group seeing increases is Social Security Disability Insurance (SSDI) recipients. The adjustment is particularly significant for this group, with increases ranging from 4.1% to 5.9%. These higher percentage increases reflect the recognition that disabled Americans often face even steeper healthcare costs and have been disproportionately affected by recent economic pressures. For the average SSDI recipient receiving about $1,483 monthly, this change could mean an additional $61 to $87 per month, potentially over $1,000 annually. The third group benefiting from the April 22nd rule change is Supplemental Security Income (SSI) recipients. This program, which provides benefits to elderly, blind, and disabled people with limited income and resources, will see adjustments of 5.2% to 6.1%. For an individual receiving the federal maximum SSI payment of $943 per month, this could mean an additional $49 to $57 monthly. While this might seem like a modest amount, for individuals living on extremely limited fixed incomes, it represents a significant improvement in their financial situation. What's particularly noteworthy about these increases is that they're separate from and in addition to the annual cost of living adjustment, COLA, that was implemented in January. This means beneficiaries are essentially receiving two increases in a single year, an unprecedented development in recent Social Security history. The cumulative effect could substantially improve the financial situation of millions of Americans who depend on these benefits. Many viewers are undoubtedly wondering why this change is happening now. After years of relatively minor adjustments to the Social Security system, the timing of this rule change stems from a combination of factors that created both the necessity and the opportunity for action. First, recent economic data has highlighted the growing gap between benefit levels and actual living costs for seniors and disabled Americans. A comprehensive study released in February showed that despite receiving cost of living adjustments, Social Security benefits have lost over 36% of their purchasing power since 2000. This decline has accelerated in recent years as inflation for essentials like housing, healthcare, and food has outpaced the general inflation measures used to calculate benefit adjustments. Second, the Social Security Administration recently completed a comprehensive review of their benefit calculation methods, analyzing how effectively they reflect the actual expenses faced by beneficiaries. This review, which began over a year ago, concluded that the existing formula was increasingly inadequate, particularly for longer-term beneficiaries and those with higher healthcare expenses. The April 22 rule change directly addresses the issues identified in this internal review. Third, the SSA's current leadership has prioritized addressing benefit adequacy without waiting for congressional action, recognizing that legislative changes to Social Security often move slowly through the political process. The administration identified adjustments they could make through regulatory authority to provide more immediate relief to beneficiaries facing financial pressure. Finally, improved operational efficiencies within the Social Security Administration's payment systems have made it possible to implement this change quickly and with minimal disruption. Recent technological upgrades to their benefit processing infrastructure have created the capacity to adjust payment calculations and distribute increased benefits without the extended implementation periods that similar changes would have required in the past. Together, these factors created both the urgency and the practical opportunity to implement meaningful benefit increases outside the traditional annual adjustment process. The April 22 effective date allows the SSA to complete all necessary system updates while ensuring beneficiaries receive their increases as quickly as possible. Understanding when you'll actually see this increase in your account is naturally a top concern. The Social Security Administration has outlined a clear implementation schedule that varies slightly depending on how you receive your benefits. For beneficiaries who receive their payments via direct deposit, the increased amount will be reflected in their first regular payment after April 22. For most retirement beneficiaries, this means you'll see the increase in your May payment. The specific date depends on your birth date. If you were born between the 1st and 10th of the month, you'll receive your payment on the second Wednesday of May, May 8th. If born between the 11th and 20th, you'll receive payment on the third Wednesday, May 15th. And if born between the 21st and 31st, you'll receive payment on the fourth Wednesday, May 22nd. SSDI recipients follow a similar schedule based on birth date. However, those who began receiving SSDI before May 1997 or who receive both SSDI and SSI will receive their increased payment on May 3rd regardless of birth date. For SSI recipients, the increased payment will be reflected in the May 1st payment, as SSI benefits are paid on the 1st of each month, or the preceding Friday if the first falls on a weekend. Those who still receive paper checks will see their increased amount in their first check mailed after April 22, following the same schedule as direct deposit recipients based on their benefit type and birth date. Importantly, the SSA has confirmed that these increases will be applied automatically. There's no application process or paperwork required to receive the higher amount. The system will automatically calculate your new benefit amount based on your existing records. The adjustment is permanent, meaning this isn't a one-time increase but rather a new baseline for your ongoing monthly benefits. The Social Security Administration is updating their online portal to reflect these changes, so beneficiaries can log into their My Social Security accounts after April 22 to see their exact new benefit amount. This information will also be reflected in the benefit verification letters available through the portal, which can be useful for beneficiaries who need to provide proof of income for housing, loans, or assistance programs. The Social Security rule change taking effect on April 22 represents a meaningful victory for millions of Americans who depend on these benefits. By adjusting the benefit calculation formula to better reflect actual living costs, the Social Security Administration is taking a significant step toward ensuring these vital benefits maintain their purchasing power in the face of rising expenses. If you're among the millions of beneficiaries who will see increases starting this week, you can expect to receive your adjusted payment according to your regular payment schedule in May. The increase will be applied automatically, with no action required on your part, and will establish a new baseline for your ongoing monthly benefits. While this change won't solve all the financial challenges facing Social Security recipients, it provides welcome relief during a period when many have struggled with rising costs. The increase represents recognition of the real economic pressures facing beneficiaries and demonstrates the system's capacity to respond to these challenges through administrative action. If you found this breakdown of the April 22 Social Security rule change helpful, please hit that like button and share this video with anyone you know who receives Social Security benefits. This information directly affects their financial situation. Subscribe and turn on notifications to receive immediate updates as these changes take effect and as new information becomes available.